They say children are the greatest blessing. We raise them, protect them, sacrifice every breath of our lives for their future. But sometimes, those very children forget who held them when they couldn't even walk. This is my story. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because every story we share reminds us what family and love truly mean. My name is Margaret. I am 72 years old. My husband, John, is 75. For most of our lives, we were proud parents of 3 children, our sons, Michael and David, and our daughter, Claire. We thought we raised them well. We believed they loved us as much as we loved them. But life, as I painfully discovered, does not always give you what you expect. I want to tell you everything, from the beginning to the end, because maybe, just maybe, someone listening to my words will understand the meaning of family before it's too late. John worked 2 jobs most of his life. He was a school janitor by day and a taxi driver by night. I stayed home when the kids were young, sewing clothes for neighbors to earn a little extra money. We didn't have much, but we always managed to put food on the table. I still remember winters when our house barely stayed warm. John would give his coat to Michael, and I would wrap Claire in my shawl. We went hungry many nights so our children could eat, but we never complained, because that's what parents do. Michael became a lawyer. David went into business. Claire married well and moved to another state. They all became successful. The very success built on the sacrifices of 2 old people who never thought twice before giving up their share. When John and I grew older, our health declined. I developed arthritis in my knees. John's eyesight worsened. We didn't ask for much. Just a little company, some visits on Sundays, maybe a phone call to say, "How are you, Mom? How are you, Dad?" But those calls grew fewer and fewer. The visits stopped, and slowly, we felt like ghosts in our own family's lives. Michael once said to me, "Mom, you and Dad should consider assisted living. It's better for you." I smiled then, but my heart broke inside. Assisted living? After all we gave? We wanted love, not strangers feeding us in a cold facility. One cold November evening it happened. Michael and David drove us to the edge of town. Claire had flown in for the weekend. She was in the back seat, silent the entire drive. When the car stopped, I looked out. It wasn't a nursing home. It was worse. An abandoned, decaying old house with shattered windows and a sagging roof. "Mom." "Dad." Michael cleared his throat. "This is temporary. You'll be fine here for a while. We just can't manage right now." John's lips trembled. "Son, please." But they left. They left us there, like old furniture thrown out with the trash. I can still hear the sound of that car engine fading into the distance. The silence after it was louder than any storm. That house was a nightmare. The roof leaked when it rained. The wind howled through broken shutters. We had no heater, only a thin blanket. I would hold John's hand at night, whispering, "We'll be okay. Somehow, we'll be okay." But deep inside, I wondered, was this what motherhood led to? Was this the reward for a lifetime of love? My heart ached, not because of hunger, not because of cold, but because my children, my flesh and blood, had decided we were too much to bear. One afternoon, when the winter sun barely lit the sky, the door creaked open. A young man stepped in. He looked around, eyes wide with sorrow, as he saw us curled in the corner. "Mr. and Mrs. Turner?" he asked softly. I blinked, confused. "Yes, do we know you?" He knelt down, tears shining in his eyes. "You may not remember me. My name is Daniel. 20 years ago, you paid my school fees when my father died. You didn't know me then, but you saved me. And now it's my turn." The memory rushed back like a forgotten photograph. Daniel had been a skinny little boy in John's school. His father had passed away suddenly. His mother couldn't afford tuition. The school board wanted to expel him. I still remember John coming home and saying, "We can't let this boy's future end like this. We'll cover it, even if it means skipping dinner for a month." And we did. We didn't think twice. Now, standing in that ruined house was that same boy, grown into a man, successful, kind, And carrying a heart larger than life, Daniel took us to his home that very evening. I will never forget the warmth of that moment. A cozy room, soft blankets, the smell of fresh soup simmering in the kitchen. I looked at John as he closed his eyes on a real bed for the first time in weeks, and I cried silently. Tears of both pain and gratitude. Daniel treated us like his own parents. He took us to doctors, bought John new glasses, got me medicine for my knees. At the dinner table, he would say, "Mom, Dad, eat more," as if we truly belonged. And you know what? For the first time in years, we felt like we did. Word spread. My real children found out that their parents were living with Daniel. One Sunday, Michael and David came to Daniel's doorstep. Their expensive suits couldn't hide the guilt on their faces. Claire stood behind them, silent as always. "Mom, Dad," Michael's voice cracked. "We're sorry. We didn't know. We didn't realize." John looked at them quietly. His voice was calm, but his eyes were oceans of pain. "We begged for your love. You gave us loneliness. Daniel, a stranger, gave us family. Tell me, who is the real son here?" The room fell silent. I narrate this story not because I hate my children. I don't. A mother's heart cannot hate, no matter how deep the wound. But I tell it because I want the world to know. Family is not about blood. Family is about love, sacrifice, and standing by one another in the hardest times. Daniel may not have been born from me, but he proved himself to be more of a son than the children I carried in my own womb. Today I sit in Daniel's living room, a blanket around my shoulders, John humming softly beside me. We are not rich, we are not young, but we are loved, and that is enough. If you are listening to this story, remember, love your parents while they are still here. Don't wait until guilt becomes heavier than grief, because one day you may realize the people who gave you everything are gone, and no amount of regret will bring them back.